Hello, and welcome to the This Happened Today in History podcast for February 25th. I am your host, Mr. Miller. This podcast will cover a number of topics that happened on this date in history. Please visit the podcast webpage at thishappenedtoday.buzzsprout.com. There you can download the notes page, which will help you organize the information as well as develop your own ideas on how these events changed the world around us. If you're interested in hearing more, please consider subscribing so you will not miss out on what happens tomorrow in history. In 1913, the 16th Amendment, which paved the way for the United States adoption of income tax, was ratified. In a Britannica.com overview, the adoption of this amendment gave the government the ability to collect taxes to pay for debts and provide for the common defense and welfare of the United States of America. The federal taxes were taken based on the percent of the total population. An example from AnnenbergClassroom.org would be that if the population for the state of Delaware is 4% of the total U.S. population, then the total tax collected by the government would be 4% of the total federal tax. In 1948, the president of Czechoslovakia allowed communist rule to be established in the country at this date. Eduard Benes was reported to have been under quite a bit of pressure at this time. During this year, the Communist Party had forced other parties out of political office, and the Communists were the only party that existed in the country at this time. The newly formed totalitarian government was much more supported by the Soviet government until the year 1989. In 1919, Oregon became the first state to impose a 1% tax on gasoline. According to the Oregon Government Fuels Tax webpage, the revenue was used to help support projects such as the Pacific Coast Highway and the Columbia River Highway. Just over a decade later, all state and federal government jurisdictions had a gas tax to help fund road projects. This funding source is the primary way to pay for modern road and transportation projects. In a Wired.com article, gas at the time cost about 25 cents per gallon, which would be approximately $3 gas today. Oregon has been innovative on ways to tax the automobile. One of the most recent ideas was to equip all new cars with GPS and then tax the cars on the miles traveled. You have been listening to the This Happened Today in History podcast for February 25th. I thank you for listening, and I hope that you have enjoyed learning about the historical events from the past. Thank you to the following websites for the information regarding today's topics: thepeoplehistory.com, Oregon Fuel Tax at oregon.gov, and Wired.com. The music used as the background track for this podcast is Americana, created by Kevin MacLeod on Incompetech.com. If you enjoyed this information and would like to hear more, please consider subscribing, as this will keep the historical events in your feed in the morning for each day. I hope you have a great day.